a big part of my practice was doing cosmetic dentistry, and I took care of regular people as well as models and actors. And as we were talking about off camera, the biggest thrill that I had in dentistry was being able to change self-images for people. I mean, when you're able to take somebody who's really concerned with how they look and is very self-conscious, and you're able to make them into a different person, you can see their eyes light up. It's thrilling to be able to do that type of service for somebody where it just changes lives. So.